when you are what do you call it, functionally thinking and emotionally thinking. Boom. That's another time. My camera just told me I'm gonna have to make this 2 videos. Yay. Oh boy. Anyway, emotional depression. It's sad, it's very showy, it's crying, it's sad, hurt expression, staring at the walls, barely getting out of bed or rarely goes out, detaches from people, things, and hopeful ideas. We all knew that already, right? Functional depression, mostly without expression, may feel almost robotic or very detached. I know there's a lot of people who don't like when I use the word robotic, but the functional side is kind of like our computer side. Sorry, just is. So the more you are on that, the more you might seem that way. In fact, I can even explain to you in real life situations where you can actually see where somebody is using their functional side more. Like you've seen some people, they go to hug you and it's just a smooth motion, right? And some people, they go to hug you and it's like kind of almost awkward, like almost kind of robotic. Yeah, remember the robot dance? Da, 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 da. Sorry. So the reason for that is because one is the emotional, one is the functional. I'll go into more of an explanation later because I can't do that now or I'll go off on even more of a tangent. But yeah, you've seen it. That's why. That's why that happens. Functional depression. Okay. So, the stronger the depression, the more the survival mode kicks in, and so needs to become the only focus. And so need becomes the only focus, which then turns into an over need, not want. There's no want involved. The emotional side only acts in the feeling, or the show, and the imagining of possible outs. Like I said, you don't lose the ability to what if. It's still there. It's just become negative. Oh yeah, in version 2 I actually explain that a little bit. I give a whole little party scenario with somebody. I really am gonna have to redo that. Anyway, okay, also, I will not speak for certain. However, in theory, it is not possible to cure depression. I definitely need to rewrite this part. I apologize. Get rid of it, yes, but not cure it. And this is because the brain has actually learned how helpful depression can be. It's actually a function, it's actually a process in the brain. It is helpful. It is a normal process in the brain. Especially emotional depression. Let's see here. I'm sorry. For example, when you're sick, no one asks you to do anything. Same as when you're in a depression, especially emotional depression. So that's not the greatest example. But the idea is that your brain, there's something going on that doesn't make sense. Whether it be a mental thing, a biological thing, who knows? The point is the brain is kind of paused. Well, we can't just sit there. People look at us and they say, what's wrong? What's going on? What's your problem? Well, unless we look sick, unless we act sick, people don't, they don't just, they're not just going to, I shouldn't say that, assume. The brain learned when we were sick what it looked like, what it felt like, all that. It learned all those things. And it also learned that people, not to sound weird when I say this, but they baby us. They give us a little bit extra leeway. They're a little more patient with us when we're sick, right? So, perhaps that's one of the reasons why depression looks the way it does a lot of the times. Like we're sick. We even say it ourselves. I'm sick. I'm not well right now. This is, like I said, I need to rewrite that. So, because it sometimes my brain just likes to give people straight answers and forgets that sometimes you have to put the sugar coating on things. Or people look at you and go, excuse me? Who do you think you are? Sorry, I myself have suffered from depression for many years, so I myself know exactly what it's like, especially when someone looks at you and they go, well, maybe you just need to go get a different diet or take a walk or something. You'll feel better, won't you? Shut up. Don't tell me I'll feel better. Don't you hate when people do that? You're just sad right now. You just need to change some things. Oh, shut up. You really don't understand depression, do you? Trust me, I totally understand that. So when people look at me and they do this, they, but when I'm feeling better, I sometimes have to catch myself from doing the same thing. And the reason why is the what is right here, right now. Am I depressed? No. So can I really relate with someone who is? No. Even though I know for a fact, I spend a lot of my life in the depression and the anxiety, because at this moment in time, I can remember the memory of it, but to say what is right here, right now, I know what it's like to be depressed. No, I can't. It's just how it works. Which is why people who are not depressed will look at someone and say, well, you're just feeling down right now. Maybe we can find some way to make you feel better. Maybe we can go for a walk. My sister, she suffers from a mold issue. She's almost died a few times. And it's crazy because I know what it's like for people to look at you and be like, oh, it's all in your head. Which is unfortunately one of the problems with mold issues and immunity. I'm not sure what they call it now. I forgot. But it's one of the reasons why that's an issue, because people look at you and they say it's all in your head, and because there isn't blood coming out of my cheek or my nails are falling, because there isn't some physical thing that you can see that says, look, I'm sick. People think, well, you're not sick. You're fine. You're just faking it. It's all in your head. Well, it's not. But it is. You're right, actually, it is all in my head. But it really is there. There's something actually there in the head. Anyway, so like I was saying, my sister, at one point, she was going to actually sleep in the backyard. Because I set up tents during the summer and sleep outside in the backyard. Love it. Oh my gosh, I love it, love it. So they went to me for advice on how to do it and how to set it all up and everything. And one of the issues is the garage in our backyard is kind of, it's old, it's blah, 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 blah. And definitely has the smell of mold, right? Well, so the fact is that she told me that mold outside is different than mold inside. In fact, the mold outside kind of like fights with inside mold. Like if you open the window and it allows the tiny little of mold to get in through the window, it fights with mold that's inside the house. I can't remember exactly what she said now. It's been a couple years. But in my head, I'm thinking, oh, since we're outside, this should be okay, right? And she stands at the door of the garage and she starts backing up and she's like, no, I can't do this. I can't go in there. I can't, because we were trying to, clean things out and get rid of stuff and all. And look at different options. Like if we had to bring her tent because of a storm or something, if we had to bring her tent into the garage and she had to have her tent in the garage, could she, be okay in there? And and the whole time I'm looking at her like, well, you're fine. No, don't let it get to you. It's okay. I almost said it's all in your head to her. And then I was like, whoa, who am I? Oh my gosh, I hate that. I hate those words. Even though it's true. I hate those words. Actually, that might not be necessarily, because it does go throughout her body, some of the issues that she's having. But anyway, the point is, the what is right here, right now. Am I depressed? No. So I can't connect with somebody who is. I can remember what it's like, and I can share that. But to be able to say what is right here, right now, I can connect with you? No. Same as when you talk to those doctors and they're like, you know what? I understand your depression because I too have dealt with depression. And you want to look at them and say, yeah, you sure do look like you deal with depression, let me tell you. You're like, oh my gosh. Again. But that's why. It's not that they haven't dealt with depression. They do, and they do know what you're going through. But at the same time, to be able to say what is right here, right now, do they understand? No. And that's why you get that feeling when you're talking to them of, no, you really don't understand. No, I really don't feel like you do. That's why you feel that way. Because your brain is saying those facts what is right here, right now. Are you depressed? No, but I am. So who should be able to talk about depression better here, right? You or me, Doc? Okay, yeah, me. Okay. It's that functional side kicking in there. Anyway, let me get back to, I'll be doing this. I'm supposed to be at the grocery store. I apologize. Oh, gosh. Okay. I don't remember. What is that? Okay. Okay, so like I said, for example, when you're sick, no one asks you to do anything. Same as when you're in a depression, especially emotional depression. You are detached to the point of not being able to do things. The reason I had said that was because it is kind of like your brain wants to say, I can't do anything right now. I'm in pause mode. And if I could simply just say that to you and you'd respect that my life has to completely stop right now, then okay. But because no one's going to respect that, the brain has to be sick. I mean, I believe some of the functions and everything, I mean, you're on a pause. The brain is on a pause. So it's just not, it's not supposed to stay that way. So then it becomes more of an imbalance issue. But anyway, sorry, go off on tangents, don't I? Gosh, why'd you go to the store? Okay, so you are detached to the point of not being able to do things. Now, keep in mind, for conversation's sake, this is important, that it is more of a subconscious brain decision, meaning the person is not in control. The quiet part of the brain is, and it's not always open to talk. The functional side. It speaks when it needs to, and only to whom it needs to. So getting rid of depression is like teaching an old dog new tricks. It's not impossible, but you better have a darn good makes better sense reason for that change. Meaning it has a fact. There has to be a fact that replaces the fact that's in your brain now on that. Oh no, my battery's at 15%. I don't think I'm gonna be able to finish this in one reading. Okay. Oh, you know what? If I just run through it, I might be able to make it. Let's do this. Anxiety. The brain becomes anxious when it's searching for answers to make sense of things, such as the does not make sense questions that are stuck in the brain. Note, actually the original process of anxiety is just an energy. It's neither positive and it is not, it's neither positive or negative. Sorry. Example, we get excited about going to an amusement park. We also get anxious about going to an amusement park. Both involve energy as well as the need to know what to expect. In both examples, we become dreamy as the mind searches to answer that question. Remember, the brain does not view positive or negative the same way we do. When searching for answers, the brain will either use more what is or facts, or it will use more what ifs or dreams. The imagination then creates scenarios that the mind can agree to, believing what to expect is not the same as knowing. Because it makes sense, believing meaning emotional, what to expect. Because it makes sense and or feels good. The difficulty is when there is not enough information. The more emotionally minded doesn't need facts. They sometimes create their own. They also have, which is what gives us the ability sometimes to use opinions like facts. We've created ideas of our own. And well, anyway, tangent. I apologize. They also have a stronger role with it. This also enables them to believe what to expect. The more functionally minded need more facts to create those scenarios. Without that safe scenario, the need to know what to expect is not appeased, and so going to the amusement park is unacceptable or too scary. By the way, my own side note, I do not believe that it is too scary. Whereas there may be some fear, I believe the real answer is that something is unacceptable or just no. The difficulty is we've been trained that saying no is not enough. Fear and being scared, or nowadays triggered, are acceptable ways of backing out of something. So consciously, subconsciously, our brains have learned to act scared. Which, by the way, that lying could cause an imbalance in some people, especially those whom are more law-abiding. So just food for thought. Imagine the imbalance in someone since early childhood whose brain has been forced to lie like that. I realize it may be difficult to picture, but just look around at all the especially functionally minded people that are not doing anything, like they need to be programmed or told simply because there's a tiny question in their mind asking what's right and what's wrong. Moving on. Functional processes can be any repetitive action, such as rocking back and forth, washing dishes. They can also be activities that involve functional aspects, such as gambling. Numbers, there's rules to how you gamble, blah, blah, blah. One shot clock. The feeling that you waited too long and now you can't do something. One example of this is a person wanting to go back to school, but they think they are too old or missed their shot. This is happening functionally because of an over-focus. Typically, this comment is made when a person is anxious because of the need to know what to expect. Living anxiety out loud. It comes in many different forms. The brain, while searching for answers, is using either a functional process or it is using activities that the person has found answers in before. Answers of any kind. Like if you're watching TV, and you're thinking, oh, what should I have for dinner? I just don't know what to do. And then the chicken commercial comes on and you think, oh, we'll go get a bucket of chicken. You got an answer at the TV, didn't you? So maybe that's one of the reasons why some people have an excessive TV watching thing, because they're searching for answers. Books can be a thing of that for that too. But so can some of the other activities and stuff. I believe I have a list here somewhere. Okay, for example, to get angry and then start washing dishes, the repetitive motion is calming because it's a simple process as well as it enables the brain to know what to expect. So along with searching, the brain also uses these activities to keep busy and or at least create the illusion of being productive. This is because to the brain it is unacceptable to sit idle when it is in need of something such as answers. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the only time this does not happen is with depression. I think it's still happening, we're just not as aware of it. This is one of the reasons I say that depression is more of a functional thing, but we'll get into that later. Some examples of living anxiety out loud. These are times where you may have, these are things that you may have found answers in before, or there's something about these activities that makes sense, either on a functional level, like I said with gambling, that involves numbers and rules, but it's also something that could just make sense to you. Your uncle used to gamble, and he made sense to you. So you might be following those footsteps kind of idea. So, but because you're searching for answers, like I said, we use things that make sense in order to make sense of things that do not make sense. So the examples are gambling, sex, masturbation, drinking, drugs, overeating, overthinking, overexercising, overreading, overfacting. I don't have an example for it right now, but you see people where they're just like, no example for it right now. Sorry. Excessive television watching, and last but not least, overloving. Because yes, some people do that. I've done it myself, I'm sure. Anyway, any questions on that kind of thing I could probably answer more individually, but the idea is that, and when I say these words, really it's when you have an excessive amount of it. Once you've done something, you don't necessarily need to do it again. It's because you want to do it, right? Like gambling. Once you've done it, do you need to do it again? Not necessarily. But the idea of repeating it is because you want to. Now, there's a difference between, oh, I want to go gamble, as opposed to, I need to gamble. See the difference? All right, so questions and queries. So these are those little questions. Please keep in mind that these are mostly based on balanced brains, as well as they are not individually specific. They are general explanations. So not paying back school loans. So we go to school for a better career / more money. Signing up for a school is a contract. Even though money is borrowed and later owed to the student loan company, often the brain perceives the school and the student loan company to be one and the same. So that's why we are looking at school and student loan company as the same. Now, whether you finish school or not, regardless of the reasons of why you did or did not, the question is, are you now in a better career or making more money because of going to school? And the next part may seem a little backwards thinking, but sometimes that's just how an imbalance can work. So the brain does work backwards. It detaches from a responsibility because of survival. One way it may detach is to use reasoning such as this. The reason you are not in a better career or making more money is because the school has breached the contract. So now I ask you, do you pay for something or for a service that you have not received? I guess that person doesn't either. So why some people are calling back, not calling back or messaging back. When the phone rings and or a message comes in, then that is the moment of need or of requirement. But that is when a request has been made. Because that is when the request has been made. If the receiving person is unsure of how to answer the call or the message, then they may not answer. They tell themselves, "Oh no, I guess I didn't get it done in time. I still had half a page left." All right, I guess I'll have to charge the phone up and finish this later. Bye.